Okay, guys, I don't know what it is, but I feel like every May or every spring I end up on a hunky-dory crafts like journey. Just dive in. And I'm going through my stash right now and I'm like, I don't need any more of this stuff or whatever. I love hunky-dory. Like, okay, well, I guess we love a lot of things, but and it happens like clockwork. Like all of a sudden in my mind, I'm like, I need to look this up. So I look them up on YouTube. I'm like, oh, it's their birthday week, like every year, and like I always hit it at the right time. So I don't know what to tell you, but I did go on their site. I don't have anything to do with Hunkydory Crafts. They've been around for over a decade. Just really beautiful things. They're built. They're based out in the UK. What I was going to say about that is that, again, I don't have an affiliate relationship or any kind of relationship with them like that, like review relation, anything like that. But I do love their items. So I usually pick it up at hunkydorycrafts.com. I don't think it has a UK in there. You can find them on YouTube. Type in Hunkydory Crafts. And I welcome you to watch their videos because they make amazing cards. If you like fun folds, like that's all they do. Like they're always making some crazy kind of card. They're 8-inch cards, 10-inch cards, crazy stuff. And so I saw a card the other day when I was watching their birthday things. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. They came out with a couple layout books, kind of like the layout collection from Crafts Companion with a sketch. And they're very simple. I think they only have like 7 or 10 designs in each book, but the books are like $7. So, that's up to you. I will say the reason I'm also making this video is because, just to check in with you guys. I love their stuff. And I was thinking, oh, with the tariffs, like what is happening with Hunkydory, because they are based in the UK, just like, Tonic, Crafts Companion, other people, with these ridiculous tariffs, senseless, just, ugh. Anyway, a lot of these people, they either make their stuff in the UK, like Hunkydory Crafts does. They print their papers at least, or, make them, they're in-house, like they do their little studio. They say like right there is where their warehouse is, where they're printing these papers on this beautiful, their metallic papers, all those things that they do, foil and all that. There, but I think their dyes and some other things come from China and then back to the UK, obviously, and then they go out from there. So there's a tariff with the UK, there's a tariff with China, there's a tariff coming back over here, whatever, what I'm saying, like when it comes here to the US. So on their site, they do have a lower shipping. I think last time I paid shipping was $18.95, and they didn't have like a free shipping option for some reason. But they said they're always looking for carriers, So now the site did have $13.95 shipping, which isn't bad, right? I mean, it's coming from the UK. But if you spend over 150, it said 150 pounds, guys. Okay, so I was like messing with the numbers. I'm like, why is it still not giving me free shipping? It's still not giving me, I'm at $200. It's still not giving me free shipping, pounds, 150 pounds. So if you do the translation, it is going to be over 200 US dollars to get the free shipping. So do you want to keep spending money, to not pay $13.95? I don't know. But they always give you a free club gift. So if you just sign up with them, just say, hey, I'm here, whatever, on their website, you can do that. And then they send you those beautiful topper, like, kits that they do. They also have a bundle that's like a reduced price because supposedly within that bundle it comes with the free gift, but then you're paying for like $13 for all these more papers and little things, all these accessories that go with it. I always go with the bundle. Sometimes if I make another order and I throw in the free gift, they still give it to me free. So they're supposed to only be one time, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I'm like, hey, that's on them. So sometimes I'll throw it in and it still goes to me free. I'm like, oh, cool. And then obviously I place whatever order with everything else. But you can also just do the free gift and pay $13.95 to get it, and it's worth that to me. Okay, so they do have the free shipping. It does show on there with tariffs that there's certain products they're not going to send to the U.S. It says it does not make sense for them as a company. Like, it just would not work. And that's exactly how they type it out. It's kind of interesting if you look up their, like what's going on their website there. So if you put something in your cart that's not going to ship, all of a sudden there'll be like a red flag, that just big red lettering in the, on the side that's about, your total and shipping, whatever. And it says that they cannot ship certain items. So I stayed away from anything that would alert that. I think the only thing I put in where that came up was their little gems, which I love these guys. But they had a deal for like $7 for 4 different packs. And so I just took it out of my cart. As soon as I saw that and then I saw that it turned red, I was like, okay. So I took it out and I just ordered basically all papers. I did get some of their magazine products, which are awesome. The magazines are so fun because they're just full of all kinds of ideas. They have really nice step-by-steps. And then they also come with like their toppers and their card bases and all that stuff. So I'll show you some of those things in just a moment. But I did want to talk a little bit about it because I'm sure maybe you're curious. It is not the most inexpensive place to shop. But also they have deals all the time. So like between them and Craft Stash, which I know Craft Stash the US is not going to be working anymore. I don't know if it's already out of business or not for the US. I haven't checked on that, but I used to get my stuff from Craft Stash. I do pick up some Hunkydory stuff from HSN. I do pick up some Hunkydory stuff from Ecstasy Crafts, which I believe they're based in Canada. I know a lot of times people are like, no, they're here. No, they have like their warehouse in Canada and they ship out of like New York, like out of the East Coast area. Something like that. So that might be affected. I don't know. I haven't looked up Ecstasy Crafts in a minute, but they do have a 10% off for my viewers. So if you want to use that, I do have an affiliate link with Ecstasy Crafts that as soon as you use the link, it gives you 10% off automatically. But if for some reason it doesn't reflect, you don't see it in the cart, like when you go to check out, there's also a discount code so you guys can check that out. That would be an affiliate link, which means I make a small commission if you're a purchase items to those links. What else? They're really responsive. If there was ever a problem with an order, sometimes something was left out or, whatever, and they'll just like, oh yeah, credit it really quickly, So, hopefully everything's good there. I did sign up for their Diamond membership, which is basically ordering a magazine. They send you the magazine and you get 10% off their site all the time when you log in instead of just 5%. If you just sign up for their free, just, hey, I'm here, they give you 5% off always. Right now during birthday week, it doubles to 10%. But the Diamond does double from 10 to 20. And I remember the last few years, that same day that you signed up, even though it doesn't show it in your cart, they'll still give you the extra 10% later. But I don't know. He didn't mention that. There's a guy, I don't know if he's the owner of the company or what, that does the videos a lot. And he'll talk about that. They're really generous with it. Sometimes even when it expires, they still give you like 2 or 3 more months. And they're like, hey, you can still have your club discount and, whatever. So anyway, good stuff. The reason I'm doing this video is because, again, I've been seeing all these card tutorials and things, and I saw this one, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But, again, it's huge, right? That's got to be at least maybe a 10-inch card. Maybe 8 inches, I don't know. So, in my mind, Oh, okay, well, I'm looking at the spacing, and I'm thinking maybe we make a 6-inch card, and I kind of got a peek under the card. I paused my video so I can see what they have going on here. It looks like they stuck those pieces on with some flaps. Now, sometimes I'll take a card base and they'll cut into it, and I think that's a little more difficult, but then when I looked at it, it did look like it was 2 bases. Like there was a piece in the back, the little flap, a piece in the front, plus the matte layers. So I'm going to make something up like that with a 6-inch card, okay? So that's a little more US kind of thing, right? We're familiar with 6-inch cards. So we're going to need a background piece that goes in the back. We're going to need little flat pieces that we're going to right? 2 of those. And then we're going to need the same size to go back on top. And then they matte layered this whole thing with another piece of whatever it might be. They might have doubled it up, I don't know. And then they had some other ones that are like rectangular strips, a little bit smaller, a little bit wider in the center, and then you can do whatever you want. I'm just kind of drawing this real quick. And then on the ones on top, it's 4 squares, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're smaller than this big guy that goes across here. And then those are matte layered up a couple times too, I think, if I look at... yeah, they have like a gold, because they always do that, right? The base paper, some gold, and then another matte layer. Same thing for this top piece. And then the very last layer is like a decorative something or other. So let me grab some paper, some of my Hunkydory paper. Obviously you can do this with any paper, but their kits are so pretty. So I'm going to grab something because I have tons in my stash already, even though I ordered more. And now I'm like, oh yay, I have my 10% off for the year, because I signed up for the thing. They give you bonus points. They give you points when you order. Unfortunately, like 300 points expired, like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. I was like, are you kidding me? They took it away, 328 points, which is basically $32. So I'm like, I could have had that $32. I don't know why. I just didn't go back and shop anymore last year. I only placed 1 order the whole year after I got the membership the year before. In 2023, it went through 2024, middle of 2024. And I only ordered something like the beginning of 2024, or like around now, right? Like I said, I think it was April or May. So I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, because I would have liked to have $30 of free stuff. But what I'm trying to say is their point system is very generous, and on your birthday they give you 500. So that's basically, I think it's like $50. I think it translates just exactly like to 10%. I want to say, it seems like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's correct. So anyway, let me grab some paper. Okay, literally the paper that's kind of on top, so that probably means this is one of the last things I used, is this one, but then I saw this kind of tucked under there. I'm like, oh, garden party. This is so pretty. So they have things like this, right? This is what they do. These are inserts. It's like a thinner layering weight paper. It's really pretty. It's the same images, but just kind of ghosting of them so that you can write your sentiment if you want to put that like on the inside of a card or whatever. And then it comes with thick, really, really thick papers, right? This one has like gold foil. I just want to show you about them in case you don't know anything about Hunkydory. This is matte-tastic, meaning it's not shiny. Most of their stuff is a little bit shiny, I will say. It's like a satin kind of color, like feel to it. So we have these papers. Oh, I have some other papers that maybe I can use these. Apparently I already used this in one of my cards or something. So this was one of the thicker papers. This is one of the insert ones. But I do want some layering paper that's not just that insert kind. So that's what's over here. You know, you pop things out, you end up with like frames, and they will use everything up in their, you know, kit. But when I saw this, I thought, oh, this will be good for the square, right? I don't know how big this one is. I was thinking maybe this one. I don't want it to be too big because I want to make a 6-inch card and still try to make this look nice. Let me see, the gold to gold. Oh, okay, it's like 3 3/4. I think that might work. I mean, it's still going to take up a lot of space, but, you know, we're going to do what we're going to do. So, I mean, either one of these will work. So I can think about that. But for right now, I'm going to put this to the side. I think maybe we can find some papers in here that will coordinate, that'll help us. We need something that's kind of not too loud. Oh, I said not too loud, and then I saw this paper. So this had to do with their little meadow mice, which, again, they bring things out and then they take it away. So, like, that's why I just pop on them when I get, look at this one. It has little grass and then this pretty little paper. This one has the purple with the flowers. I saw this one. Oh, look at the little berries. That's cute. The strawberries. This one. I don't know if that goes in my... But, you know, they're just so pretty. And these are not layering weight. They're thicker than layering weight, but not that much thicker. I don't know how to explain these. So, anyway, these are their... Oh, you know what? I keep saying layering weight. To me, layering weight is like this. I'm talking about typing paper when it's like insert typing paper, like just so thin. I don't know. I would consider this layering weight. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay. And then this one has the inserts also, which for this one are a little bit thicker, which is nice. Oh, nope. Yeah, okay. I was holding 2 of them. It still feels thicker than normal. But anyway, usually those are a lot thinner. So maybe we're just considering it all layering weight, but a higher quality layering weight. I don't know. Look at that. I already have a little square cut. Oh, I know when I used this. I used it when I made the little 8-sided gift box. Okay, so let's do a few things. I'm gonna use white paper, and maybe that's too stark, but I do want it to pop out, like to make it look different. So we need a 6-inch square. If you have a die to make cuts a 6-inch square, great. Let me go. This is A2 size paper, so it's 8.5 by 11. I'm gonna cut the 6 inches this way first because I might need this strip later. Wait, actually, I know this will be the better way to do this. So for the little squares we need, this is 2.5. You can imagine we can use that. So 6-inch squares. I need 2 for the base of the card, right? What's a bummer is that this is not a 12-inch paper, so I'm still gonna have to cut another one. So maybe it didn't matter, but I do prefer cutting this off first. So we need that. And I'm just making up numbers as we go because, again, I don't know what they did, and their card was way bigger than this. Oh, my goodness. My finger's going to get in there. What I do like about the Spellbinders is as soon as you butt it up here, that's already 6 inches. Okay. And then we need some little flaps for that. Now, I was thinking about making the squares 2 inches, but that means it's going to leave a 2-inch gap. So you can imagine there's a 2-inch square here, 2-inch gap, 2-inch square, and their gaps aren't even that big for the bigger one. So I'm thinking 2.5 inches. Oh, that's perfect. So we have these, and that'll leave a 1-inch gap. So 2.5. So this is already 2.5 inches. So let's go 2.5. Sorry, make sure it's nice and straight. I had to not really touching that one side. Oh, this would be a fun one to put like on a Cricut, you know, just so it cuts everything real quickly. Maybe I'll follow up with that. 2.5. We need 4 of these. So I will say the card in the back wasn't like super, what's the word, like cleaned up. A lot of times they make everything they do really clean, but I don't know if you saw that it was the flaps, and you can see that these were just glued onto that flap. Now if you want to put another piece behind it just to make it look neater, you can do that. So we have 4 2.5-inch squares. Okay, so you can imagine if these are on this flap here, yeah, it leaves a 1-inch space, and I think that'll be good because then the other thing will be floating in here, which will look really cool. Okay, so we do need whatever we're gonna base onto here. So we have 2 6-inch squares so far, 4 2.5-inch squares. The piece that's gonna be in the middle, that image was like 3 3/4, wasn't it? Something like that. I'm thinking 4-inch. Oh, look at this. I don't know where this piece, I guess it's from when we first made our thing. I don't know if I have enough for 4-inch squares here. I do. Perfect. So this is working out really well. I'm just trying to think if 4-inch square is going to be big enough. Let's say 4 1/4, because you can imagine if I bring this guy in and the matte layer is kind of weird, it's going to be weird. So let me see if we can. I love the square it already has, obviously, but the way these people do things, they just work it a little bit differently. So whenever I pull these off, I push back so that the gold stays intact instead of pulling up towards you. If you do that, sometimes the little Chad will maybe tear a little gold off. I will say they do such a great job with this. Like, see what I'm talking about? You hardly have an issue with that. But if you push it towards you, see how this little white piece of paper stayed there? If I had pushed it in the other direction, that would have ripped gold off this top part. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's put that to the side. See if we have this here. And let's say 4 1/4 inches. Let me see what that kind of looks like. 4 1/4 would be like about here. And then that would be like there. With a, see, I would do a gold matte layer. It already has gold. So maybe we just do something different. Ooh, 4 1/2. Is 4 1/2 too big? I was gonna say, because we're just trying to matte layer this to make it look similar to the other matte layers that we're doing. So we want to keep that in mind. 4 1/2 is about there. 4 1/2. Let's do 4 1/2. If I need to trim it down, I will. So 4 1/2 square. Because then we're going to do gold matte layers, guys. And then I can use possibly whatever these pieces are. Yeah, like this. Well, this is a little bit. Oh, actually, that'll work. Okay. 4 1/2. Sorry. If you have some kind of decorative square die, that'd look lovely. I'm just trying to keep it really basic. So that's all we need for our base pieces. We have 2 6-inch squares, 4 2.5-inch squares, and 1 4 1/2-inch square. And hopefully that's okay. I know it's going to cover quite a bit. That's kind of what I was worried about. I think it's going to look nice when we finish this up. You can play with those numbers. This is about 1 inch. Yes, 1 by 2.5. So we need little flaps, and all I'm going to do is just score this at 1/2 inch. So this is 1 by 2.5. It's just an offcut from that strip, so that's a good use. We're going to need 2 of these, so I'll just, I mean, I can honestly use something like this. You're not going to see it that much. Actually, they do show at the back of that one, but so 2.5 inches by 1. And then scored at 2.5. So we need 2 pieces that are 1. Oops, see, that one's crooked. That's all right. We're going to bury that so it doesn't really matter. That are 1 by 2.5, right? 1 by 2.5 scored right down the center. And so now we need gold matte layers, which is what I prefer. So I'm going to grab some paper for that. I didn't think I grabbed my gold paper. It's usually right behind me, but I'm in the middle of moving everything around. So let me go grab that. Okay, actually I went diving in my scrap basket, and I think this will work because I just need one. My goodness, excuse me. I just need one piece that's 6 inches. So actually 5 7/8. That's, see, this is where it's going to start getting tricky because I like 1/8 inches, and so 5 7/8. And we're going to cover this up, so even though my paper's a little bit beat up, hopefully we won't see that too much. Ooh, do I have enough in the other direction? Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. It's just right. Where it cut off right there. 5 7/8 inch square. Okay, we need that for the very base. Okay, and then for our little 2 inch squares, or 2.5 inch squares, I'm going to do a couple, let's see, that are 2.5, so 2 3/8, so an 1/8 inch smaller all around, and that is right there. Look at this, that's right there. Okay, cool. So 2 3/8. I don't know if I'll be able to get another square from it, but that's cool. Got that one. I don't think this will give me another one, but at least we have one. I guess I'm just gonna cut this. Actually, let me get the matte layer from this big piece for this guy, right? So this guy was 4.5. So I want 4 3/8. I'll take a little schmutz off there. It's some glue from some other project. By 4 3/8, right? And I'm gonna cut however many more I need to have. I need 3 more of this one, right? The 2 3/8 inch square. Okay, I was able to get pretty much everything off those little scraps, but not quite this. Again, that's why I'll even keep a piece that's like this, because see how it's plastic coated? It was kind of hard to rip. You never know when you have a little die that all you need is like a little flower center or whatever. So I always keep my gold scraps together. This looks really crooked, but why is that? So, yeah. I'm gonna have to cut another piece off there. So 2 3/8 already, 2 3/8, and just cut this one. 2 3/8. I cut it a little generous because I knew it was crooked. So just to get straightened out, but to be able to throw this little piece away. So we have those guys. The other thing we're gonna need, I was say we can start putting this together a little bit, just to kind of put some of these things to the side, but you can definitely just keep cutting, right? Because we're gonna do quite a bit more cutting for the next matte layer, but I kind of want to see what this looks like. So I'm gonna put these down. This guy with his little bent papers. I know I'm going to put matte layers, but I feel like I'll put it down here so it's less distracting. Actually, I think it'll be less distracting at the top because we have the other guys going to go on top. Okay, so I will say Hunkydory recommends using liner tape, foam pads, like with this kind of stuff, because again, if you're using something wet, like a wet glue, if you put too much, it is going to absolutely make your paper look wonky on the top. So I'm just gonna take my ATG, which I'm so happy that I just got those cool refills. Look how it just, I'm so impressed the way it just lays down so nice. Now ATG has different guns. I don't know if there are other ones that are 1/4 inch, I'm assuming, but they have a yellow one and they have a red one, and the pink one was the 1/4 inch. I don't know how they handle that. I feel like some of them are more industrial and they are very expensive. But all I know is this is the one I have. Okay. And the other thing is with this is that you got to be careful when you first place it, because you're basically done. Like that might be a little bit crooked, but that's all right. Okay. So guys, we're just making this up as we go. I would like to glue these together with glue, because that's my preference. And we're going to put those little other bits. Oh my gosh. Why? Come on, buddy. I always have something handy. Whenever I poke this, I always kind of give it some pressure because you want it to clear and not just get stopped up again. So I squeeze it as I'm poking around in there. Okay. Right to the very edges. I think it's gonna be fun. And again, I kind of adapted it for an audience, a US audience. Okay. And then I have these glue tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and nestle one end to the very end. And over here, I'm going to look at the back and just make sure that that looks nice and straight from the back. And the score lines aren't going to be like problematic. They're a little further up. You know, it kind of has to clear this other one that we're going to tuck in there. So we want to make sure you have a little bit of space up at the top. And I'm just making this up, you know, if we see that, hey, maybe we should have brought it down a little lower, then, you know, we'll know that for the next one. But for now, we're just kind of going for it. You could definitely finish this up. You don't have to stick this down right now like I am. But I just, like I said, kind of want to get some of this going. So, and see what I'm saying? We're going to get this all the way up in there. And this still closes. Okay. I try to line it up as perfectly as I could. And a lot of the cards they make don't leave room for writing a sentiment or writing anything, so just so you know. Okay. I'm gonna leave that to the side to firm up there. Like I said, they got a little schmutz on here. Now this is old glue, and I mean, if you want to, I'm gonna wet a little paper towel and just wipe that off because it'll come off. It's wet, you know, water-based. I'll be right back. Okay, I did my best. Not great, but I didn't want to like scrub into it because then that will definitely leave an etched line or something that we don't want. And just something like that. Okay, for this guy. So we took 1/8 of an inch off. The next layer will be 1/4 inch smaller than our base. At least that's how I want to do that. So, all right. So I don't think I have to sit here and belabor the point. We're just going to layer these guys. So I'll show you real quick. Just get some glue on there. Oop. And matte layer each of our squares. Okay. So I'll be right back with all 4 of these. Okay, so there are those guys. So let's kind of take a look. Again, we're going to do some matte layering here, and then these 4 pieces are going to hold this guy. That's still a big card, and I think it's going to work out. Okay, we have this pretty guy, and then something else is going to go behind there. So I'm going to look at these pretty papers again and see. I mean, you know, this one really catches my eye, but I don't know if I have enough of this. Do we only have 1 sheet of each? That's the other thing. I think we'll make it work, but I don't think I can make it work with a half sheet already. Like this one is just really catching my eye. Even though it's pinks with the purple, I don't know. I don't see why not. The little berries is really cute too, the blueberries, because it does bring out that bluish purple in the background. I don't know. I mean, this one's less. This one has even less purple in it, but oh, look at this. I mean, it has the purple butterflies. They're just a different style. So like, I don't know if that's my favorite for this. It's still fresh. I feel like the floral has more to do with this. I mean, it's still, I would love to have more purples, to be honest, but I think it'll be pretty. Okay, we'll just go with this one. And then we'll say, we'll just go with this one. That's like my favorite paper, and that's why I didn't use it. But let's go for it. And we have to be very smart with our cutting because I need this to matte layer everything. So 6-inch square. We did 5 7/8. That means this next one needs to be 5 3/4. Which we can probably go ahead and just cut the 5 3/4 first. Maybe we should cut the long strip like I did before. I think we should do that. So our long strips should be 2 1/4 because remember they were 2 1/2. Then we did 2 3/8. So the next one should be 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut this at 2 1/4. This is A4 size paper too, so it's different. Okay, so I might no, it should be okay. 2 1/4. I would say I need to have at least 5 some odd inches left here, and this is like 8 1/8 paper. It's so weird, the sizing. Well, it's not so weird. It's weird for us. Yeah, I should have at least 6 inches left, so that's good. Okay, I just want to make sure before I cut it, like I'm not going to waste this. So 2 1/4. And we need 4 of those. So, I mean, we're just going to cut 4 2 1/4 inch squares, okay? So I will be right back with 4 2 1/4 inch squares. Okay, last 2 1/4 inch square, and I have this little piece I can use, possibly, maybe not. This one, we want this for sure to be 5 3/4 inches. In the other direction, you saw they had strips, right? And in between the strips, there was 1/8 of an inch gap or so, right? In my opinion. So we're going to think about that for a moment. So 5 3/4 in one direction. On the other one, we can either just cut them to what we think it should be, but we need to take away 1/4 inch. So instead of being 5 3/4 in this direction, we're gonna make it, oh my gosh, I hope I don't mess this up, 5 1/2. Because what you're already trying to do here is take away some of that gap. So then if you make a strip that's this much and this much, you know, whatever, it's fine. So it's kind of scary, but so if we were gonna do 5 3/4, okay, I'm just gonna go for it, and hopefully I'm not wrong, because this is the one thing, whenever there's an extra gap, it always messes with my mind. So to make this easy, what we can do is say, oh, I just want 1 1/2 inch strips on either side, and then whatever's left in the center can be left in the center. because it's basically just whatever, or 1 3/4 inch strips. And then this centerpiece can be a little bit wider. I think if you do 1 1/2, it's more noticeable that the centerpiece is wider, because that's what they did. So 1 1/2 here, and you can just cut 1 1/2 again, but I'm gonna cut 1 1/2 inch off the other side. Ooh, I did half. Ooh, I caught myself, thank goodness. 1 1/2 is basically there. That would have been disaster, guys. So now you see this piece in the middle is a little wider than these two. And I'm going to leave it just like this off to the side. Okay, guys. And then we need a matte layer, that middle piece. And look at this. This is going to be perfect. So that middle one was 4 1/2. Is that what it was? Let's make sure, because I'm already forgetting. You know, we're making up numbers as we go. So this one was 4 1/2 inch square, 4 3/8 gold matte layer. And that means 4 1/4 square is what I want here. If you don't like 1/8 of an inch, you know, think about quarters. I'm just doing the slightest amount, so, of showing in the background. Now I will say, this is very busy, you know, and then we're gonna put the other guy on top. Maybe somehow we can kind of mess with these to do something else, but not today. So that is everything, guys. So again, with this guy, I can just put wet glue. You can use your whatever you like. I mean, this other side, honestly, is kind of what they did. They went with like a toned down thing. But, you know, I'm just doing what I am called to do here, okay, guys? That's kind of how it works here. I know I have a lot more new subscribers, and I don't have plans, guys. So this is a square that we can mess with later. So right now I'm just going to pop this on here, and if there's a certain direction that we think it should go, great, you know. Another thing is, I know the gold paper is not expensive, but we don't like wasting. So if you like to cut the center out, you know, gut that before you add it so you can use the gold that's not showing for something else, you can definitely do that. Look how pretty this is. But I will say it does add to the sturdiness of everything that's happening. Okay, we'll put that one to the side. Let's go ahead and glue the back one down next. So, just so I can keep it in order. Again, I took an extra 1/4 inch off because when I glue these down, the height is what we want, but we wanted a space in between each of them that's about the same as the outside. That's why I took an extra 1/4 inch off this measurement. And then I didn't have to do math, okay? Because in my mind it was already the size I wanted, and then I just cut the 1/2 inch strips, 1 1/2 on either side, and that worked out. And it did, so that's what I was looking for. I do have Hunkydory's construction glue, as they call it. It takes a really long time to dry, so it gives you time to like manipulate it, but it's really like all over the place. I don't know, I'm just so used to Nuvo Deluxe that I rather use that. So I'm putting this here, and again, you know, maybe I should have only taken an 1/8 of an inch, so it's a 1/16 in between, because again, we're splitting an 1/8 of an inch here. I do this in my head, and then I'm always like, that wasn't right. It's gonna be not super noticeable, guys, but I think maybe I should have only taken an 1/8 of an inch instead of a 1/4 inch. This is what I'm telling you. It always messes with my brain. I'm not good at that one. And people always compliment me about how well I do math, and that's nice and that's true. But for some reason, when it comes to this, and I thought this time I had it, I'm like, oh, for sure I have it. But, you know, when I put this guy in the middle, there's a little bit bigger gap than on the sides. And I mean, it's a little bit. But I do want it noticeable, so there you go. There we go. Put this guy down. Oh, you know what? I want it to look still like it was cut from the same piece. I didn't pay attention to that right now. What I mean is like that the panels, one goes to the next one to the next one. I might have flipped one around. No, I did. That's right. That flower goes to that flower. And okay. All right. So there's this guy. Okay. Oh, getting a little extra glue out there. So, I mean, that's the other thing is you want to use ATG because, again, in case glue does squeeze out, you can clean it up right away. It's easy to wipe away, or you wait until it's set, like if you don't notice until later. And it looks dry. Basically, that's what happens. You can use a little paper towel and wipe that away, but now it's gone. Okay. Look how pretty that is. And this is like the most, I mean, wow. Okay, so I'm not going to waste all your time with these guys. So we have 4 of these, and I'm just going to pop down 4 of these. So here we go. And then all we have to do is start putting it together, guys, and then decide if there's other, you know, little decorations we want to add. That's crazy. I must move over just a little bit more that way. Okay. Cute. Okay, so, you know, I'm going to give these a minute because they're all still a little bit wet, but I do want to kind of come back and address this. So when we go to fold this, obviously we want it to close nicely. What I'm going to do is kind of score this out towards the back side, like up that way, because that way it gives it some give. So I'm just kind of squeezing it up so that it closes over all this good stuff and then just has a little bit of give. So basically these guys we're going to put here. See this one? I don't know what happened. The very corner got nicked, like when I cut it. So I'm going to put this one like here, because when I put this on top, you're not going to see that. So, you know, kind of eyeball what's going on and what would make sense for you. That looks really good. I like wet glues. I mean, I can put ATG on there and it's going to hold right now and then you're going to be done with it. But the other thing is you could lay this flat and glue it on, but I don't want to do this that way, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to make sure it lines up with this edge when I bring it down. So what's that little edge, that little corner piece that was a little bit funky? I'm going to have it down here. Have this on here for a second. Still bring it up as high as you can so that, you know, everything's lined up. That looks good. That looks good. Nice and straight. Like, I'm looking at this edge. I'm looking at the top edge. That's good. And this is how they did it. But like I said, I mean, if you wanted to put another piece on the back, you can cover that up where that little junction is, because it doesn't look great. And I was surprised that they didn't, but I don't know who made this sample, or also sometimes they do things like live on TV, so maybe they didn't have time for that. I don't know. But see, this is our inspo here. And then I'll tell you, it took me like 60 tries to stop that. Oh, that's the live function there. Oh, I don't want that. That's weird. How come I showed it nicely earlier and now it's like videotaping? I don't want video. I just want the picture. There we go. So weird. Okay. They just left the flaps. Okay. That's all I was trying to show you there. And I'm just like in my mind thinking this is how they did it. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was a piece of cardstock that, you know, a card that they cut this away. But it didn't look like it. It does look like when it's in her hand that it's super thick on the sides. So couple different layers. Okay, so, and then if you think the flowers have a certain direction they need to go, kind of pay attention to that. I do feel like this one needs to go this way. Okay, I'm going to add that there before I bring it down to make sure it's nice and straight along the side here. And I'm kind of pushing that with my thumb. That looks good. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit because this one's kind of further down. This is so exciting, you guys, because this is it, basically, you know, right? After this, we're going to adhere this guy and then add the two bottom squares, or, you know, I mean, that's basically how you have to do it. I don't see how else you would do it. So this one's already attached. I'm going to hold this down for a second, and I'll be back. Oh my gosh, you guys, remember when I cut this one? I was like, oh, it's crooked. I'll just bury that. I forgot, and I left it here. So it's like going off that direction a little bit. It's hard to tell, but still annoying. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now this beautiful thing, oh my gosh. So again, does it have a direction? I feel like the direction would be this way if it has one, or maybe even this way. We're going to cover quite a bit of this with that butterfly anyway. I'm just looking at this flower at this point, or like this one. I feel like maybe this is it. This is it. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to place these like placeholders. And, oh my gosh, there's daffodils in this paper. How cute. I didn't even notice them till right now. This one can go over here. That is so funny. So in this top one, like these two, I don't see any daffodils. So yeah, there's a couple there. This one's like full of daffodils, and so is this guy. Okay. It's going to be like this, and I kind of need to know. Now you can definitely take measurements, because you know these are 2.5 inch squares and this is 4.5. So how far down from the top and all that, but I'm not going to think of it that way. I'm just going to look at this and then stick it down. So I know it's going to be like at least here. And put a good amount of glue because you don't want that to fall off later. Right? It looks like it covers into at least there. And let's bring this guy down. And left and right. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. I can give you an idea of where this is in just a moment. But it looks like it's about an inch from the top, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's like exactly an inch. Which I suppose is where we want it, because if this is 2.5 and this is 4.5, you know what I'm saying, by the time you do math and all that, I think you want it an inch in and an inch down. That works out. And again, I'm eyeballing that. You can definitely put out a T-square if that makes you happier. You can definitely do that. Okay, so then these guys are going to be down here. Maybe I should bring it up just a little bit, but I don't know that I can. I think it's pretty much stuck. Okay. I feel like it's a little bit... I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I probably could have brought up just to see how this one... I feel like this could be up just a hair, maybe 3/4 of an inch, huh? Okay. So now these guys, I'm going to add glue, just like we did before, just to make sure that these corners are going to catch and stay there. Line those up. This is how I'm doing this. I don't know how they pulled it out, like I said, but look how cool that looks. I don't even know. Just something different. And then bring this down to catch that. And I did do a nice sizable middle section. If you wanted this smaller, do it smaller. If you wanted to just barely catch right here, it'll still hold it, right? With the glue. I mean, whatever illusion, whatever you're trying to come up with, I think it's going to be great. Look at that. Okay, cool. Definitely dimensionals on this guy. So I'm just going to leave that. I would like to leave something on top of that, but look at this. What do you think? It is weird that the back is just like what it is, but that's crazy. Again, I used a really bold pattern, so we'll compare after we're done with what I started off looking at. And, oh, what do I have? I have all kinds of dimensionals. You know, I came across a ton of them as I'm cleaning up. I want the really big ones from Anna Griffin, or even something like this. This would be good. I already cut into it. I have these diamond press pieces. So I'm just going to cut some strips. Oh, look at that. That's like perfect. So I'll just go a couple, maybe 1, 2, 3 down the center and on the sides. That's crazy. These are like exactly the same. Like right there, down to right there. Look at this. Exactly missing where it would show. Isn't that crazy? Oh, that's even better. I was going to put it up and down, but you know what? This will probably look better because at the top of the card, all you see is one strip like this. Where'd the other one go? Okay, we'll talk about numbers again just so you guys have that if you like this card and want to recreate something like it. Make sure, there we go. Okay, I stressed it out. There we go. There are sentiments also with this paper. There are obviously pearls and all those things that you have in your stash. I suppose you could open this way if you wanted. That'd be kind of weird though. So anyway, and if you still want to do a little matte layer here to write a sentiment, you can definitely do that. The only thing that shows is like up here, right? So this card is just pretty like all over, right? The inside, the top. Oh, that looks crooked. And this other direction that I wasn't expecting. There we go. Like this. Okay. I always like to turn it over, give it a good squish. Let me clean up just a little bit. I'll grab the paper pad again so we can add a sentiment and things, and we'll take a good look. Okay, so let's check this out. So again, from that same page, you know, that I popped that off of, there'll be other things that coordinate, but I kind of brought in the pinks and purples, like, you know, I can bring stuff from wherever else. We have words like, or sentiments like this one, let today take you somewhere beautiful, and it's just like a nice longer strip that actually probably work here. You know, they will do stuff like that will be on there, and they'll also put this bird in the corner, and they'll also do all these things, and so, you know, however you want to deck it out. Honestly, I mean, everything's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Like, this is so cute now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I could just... I mean, we kind of already have all our little squares and things. I don't know that I'd want to bring something like this in, but they definitely would. Hunkydory. If you have little chads like that you know, aren't super cleaned up, just take a little scissor and kind of boop, boop. Right? Make it a little tidier. Just a little something. Just that little bite to clean it up a little bit. I mean, they would have that on there, you know, no problem. Just all kinds of things. But anyway, I just want to show you that. Maybe lots of love. Thinking of you. Again, there's sentiments on the other pieces that you can definitely pop out. I'm bringing it up towards me, like I said, because sometimes you pop it the other way, you're going to get that gold torn away. This one, for some reason, has a lot of these little burrs. Okay, I'm going to put some dimensionals on this somewhere, maybe for here, and I'll be right back. You know what, I will show you what I'm going to do for the dimensionals on this, because I think I'm going to double it up. Because if I, well, I'm going to double it up. Well, yeah, because I was going to bring this up a little bit. So, I still need a third piece. So, if you have this piece here, so that's, if you can imagine, if you stick this down, it's double what's under it, right? So on this one, we'll put 2 pieces. And some people like to put glue also just to make sure that this lasts forever. Because after a while, I mean, all these things kind of lose their stickiness other than wet glues. And that's another reason why I like wet glues. But to a certain extent, right? I know they really use red liner tape with Hunkydory, and that's, you know, in red liner tape we trust some folks. Some folks say, you know, after a while it also breaks down. So I think with that one, it stays gooey is what happens, and then it starts being like melty. I don't know how to explain it. Okay. So, I mean, this can go wherever we want. I think that looks pretty right there, because it's basically going to touch that. It's going to go over to this and be the same height, because we doubled it up here, and this together is the same height. So that looks really pretty. And I do have those rhinestones, but I mean, if we want to keep it hunky-dory-like, I'm thinking about putting one in each corner just to have a little something else. Oh, should we do purple? Just to bring that purple back. Now, let's see. So right now they're club gift. They just came out with a new one because it's their birthday week. So you get kind of what I'm showing you. It's like the inserts, the construction kind of card, the topper pieces. These are toppers. These are like insert kind of papers. Well, a little different. It's like layering weight, like we talked about. And then the construction card, which is like the ones I showed you earlier that had like pretty stuff, but you're supposed to use them for card bases or just to cut them up, you know, just to make matte layers. These guys. But again, 350 GSM, like they're so like thick, you know. That's one piece, like it's crazy. So really cool. Anyway, like I said, I don't have anything to do with them as far as affiliates with the company itself, other than maybe, you know, like HSN having some stuff and that kind of thing. But I will say, I think this thing right now, I do have a refill, so I need to grab that because it's not as sticky as it should be. I'm trying to see which purple to use. That's very light. That's pretty. I guess we go with this bigger one. And let's go with the big squares. Why not? It's a big card. The big squares. The big stones here. They are plastic, though. When I say stones, I mean plastic. All right. Pretty. And their little jewels are a little different because they're like faceted. I don't know if you see. Maybe you can see on some of these. The top is like different. Okay. That's cute. I mean, that looks really pretty, right? If somebody give that to them like that, look how gorgeous. I mean, you can do a lot more decoration, but I was really focusing on the card itself. That's awesome. Again, put a square matte layer in there and have your sentiment, because you're not going to see it anyway, right, when it's like this. And it's going to look lovely with that background. Maybe still do a gold layer and then, you know, a coordinating color layer that you can write on. That is amazing. This card, that's a knockout. And it wasn't that hard, guys. It was just a little bit of cutting here and there. Like I said, I can definitely design something like this on the Cricut. If you want the Cricut machine to cut everything for you, it'd be very easy. It's just a series of squares. And then just that one hinge, right? So we can definitely do that. Let me know if you would prefer that. And it would make it faster. So let's talk about this again real quick so that we all are on the same page. Of course, I put my pen somewhere that I don't see. Here it is. Okay, we had 2 6-inch squares at the base, right? 2 6-inch squares for the base. The matte layer was 5 7/8. At least that's how I like matte, the gold matte. And then on top of that, I did a piece of cardstock that was 5 3/4 by, and this is the part where it probably should have just been 1/8 of an inch smaller. I did a 1/4 inch, so that's up to you. So 5 3/4 tall, right? I should say tall, by 5 1/2 wide. And then I cut from there 1.5 inch strips, 2 of them. And then that middle section is whatever is left, 3. So this is 3 inches, so it's 2.5 inches, that middle piece, right? So 2.5 mats. Okay, that's for the background piece. That's what I'm talking about right here. Those are the numbers. 6-inch squares, 2 of them, right? And then a 5 7/8 inch gold mat, and then the other mat layer is 5 3/4 by 5.5, cut at 1.5, 1.5, right? And then you need some hinges, 2 hinges. And I did that, 1 inch by 2.5, right? Because we want them just as wide as our little things. And scored at 1/2 inch, which is basically the middle. These top squares, we need 4. I'm just going to call them smaller squares. I don't know. I know my handwriting. Oh my gosh, you guys. Whenever people destash, or when I destash, I send a thank you card or like a card with it. And my handwriting is so bad. Hopefully they can make out what it says. So the smaller squares. I just wrote 6-inch squares, meaning you need those 2. I should write this differently. Oh well. So I wrote 2 6-inch squares, but what I meant was for base layer. Let's say base layer, right? And then 4 for the smaller squares. We need 4 of those. They were 2.5-inch squares. They had 2 3/8 mats. These are inches squares, obviously. And then 2 1/4 inch, matte, let's say gold, let's say pattern. That's what that says, all right? Obviously this is gold and this is pattern mats. And then the very top one, you just need 1 very top square, was 4.5 inch square. And then it had 4 3/8 inch matte in gold. I should have just said gold matte, but oh well. And then 4 1/4 pattern. Oh my gosh. You guys want to pause it on there? It's a mess, I know, but it's so easy. I mean, that's what it is. Okay. So that's that. Super easy. And then whatever you want to put on top of that, right? I mean, you can cut more square, whatever it is you're going to do. But this came out really cool. I'm really happy with that. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you liked this as a Cricut cut file, and I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.